What makes the Ducati Scrambler the best starter bike? The Ducati Scrambler is by and far the most accessible and entertaining entry-level bike you could choose. Here's why. First, as anyone will tell you, the seat height is completely accessible. It was the first thing I experienced that made me think this is the bike for me. I didn't feel intimidated, and when you are learning, that should be your first objective. I strongly suggest you wait for your ultra-fast H2 for when you own your own racetrack. For now, be practical and keep yourself safe. But most importantly, your first bike should be fun. So what makes a Scrambler a good sell for the first-time riders as well as commuters? It's a nimble, low center of gravity bike. I have taken turns I shouldn't have, leaning more than I have ever before because of my momentum to the angle of the curve, and the Scrambler handled it very well. I learned a lesson, but the bike kept me from a mistake. That's important to know because it's going to happen to any rider. It handles the road extremely well. It's a safe bike. What about beyond safety? Here's the real issue with the Scrambler compared to other bikes. After reviewing so many other brands and looking at the compromises from seat position, cost, height, seat height, and fun, along with the final issue of which made it a slam dunk, it's air-cooled. Air-cooled entry level, which can also hit dirt trails, is hard to come by these days. What makes air-cooled so special? I asked the same question when performing my search. I bought the Scrambler mainly because it was the only one I wanted that was available. I wanted a few others in different sizes and form factors, but this bike was available. I wanted to ride, so I took it. I had no idea of how air-cooled would affect my experience. I wasn't disappointed. The reason for the air-cooled is simplicity. Anytime you eliminate another layer of a bike's capacity to operate, you're better off. That's not to say liquid cool is bad, it's not. In hot weather, you are better off with a liquid cool depending on the type of riding and how long. It's really not the strongest argument. The biggest issue for air-cooled is the feel, and the reason why you own a bike is to feel and experience something. Air-cooled bikes just rumble more, scream more. They represent the true traditional intention of the engineering of a motorcycle and what a motorcycle experience is. Lastly, having liquid-cooled bikes help me understand this notion of fun and feel after I get off them and get back on my Scrambler. The difference is so obvious, I just laugh. Air-cooled is just more fun. However, if you want an upright seated position and air-cooled, look no further than the Ducati Scrambler. Other brands simply offer cruisers. The Scrambler's engine is also a point worth mentioning. From a practical and reliability standpoint, it's the 803cc early monster engine and has been tested, tried, and true, and that should be a green flag for any first-time buyer of a mid-level displacement air-cooled bike. Not only that, but Ducati is selling the Scrambler in droves and has been doing so since 2015. Once you get 4,000 miles on the Scrambler, you will feel something different. The engine has been worn in and hopefully with some care of the throttle. But after 4,000 miles, it wants to go and it wishes to scream as well as provide you that Ducati experience. The air and the oil cools it down enough, but keeping it warm enough for her to make a sound you will never forget and wish for again. It truly is a bike you look forward to riding every time you make a date with her. Drawbacks? The only drawback of the Ducati is the front suspension. It's extremely stiff, if not adjustable. The only thing I read you could do is to remove an ounce of fluid, which is possible to do. I found only one ride where I had an issue with the front suspension, which was on hard dirt with small rocks. It shook me like it was Ellen's ex. I had to turn around, it was so bad. However, overall, How many situations will you place the Scrambler in where this would be an issue? It handles most basic terrain just fine, but yes, you will more than likely find the stiff front suspension and do something about it. It's the only thing you should modify other than the handlebars if you wish. I'm not sure why there isn't any more obvious rush to the Scrambler. It's not that they don't sell, they do, but I just don't see the obvious draw I would expect. It has a niche, and a valuable one. But do people understand it? If you are looking for a first-time bike but want the power and maximize the fun factor and experience overall, the upright, accessible seat position of the Scrambler is your air-cooled solution. With 7,000-mile oil change intervals, surpassing even my Yamaha Liquid Cool 686. Do not neglect to acknowledge this feature. It demonstrates its reliability factor and engineering feat. What you don't need to do is replace the exhaust. I found out after you break in the engine this would be a worthless mistake and a waste of money. The stock sound is great and is set enough to not make neighbors complain. More sound is not more better. It's not. And by the way, on the road, when she screams, the exhaust is perfect, and I will demonstrate this with a wireless mic attached to the backside like it was Jennifer Lopez to an A-list movie star. I did replace its pathetic pegs with a Ducati upgrade. It was well worth it. I extended the mirror's reach as my shoulders wouldn't allow the view. Other than that, I just added the bash plate for peace of mind. Ducati of Omaha offers a convenient method to get oil change packages online. You can use Motul oil as a better replacement, but the Shell version is good for starters. Just remember, the gears on a Ducati are sloppy in the beginning, but with some wear on them and an oil change, the downshifting gets easier and more convenient. Neutral just takes practice. Most importantly, understand your most frequent enjoyment on a Ducati are stretches of highway, usually without cars, where you easily reach 65 or 70. That's when you know what feeling free feels like. The Ducati Scrambler, you could say, is church. If you could fish each day, I would find my church. I'll stick with my Ducati, knowing she's in my garage, and I can reliably take her out and have some relaxing fun. Trust me, get on one and find out for yourself. You won't be disappointed. Have a nice day.